As I approach my twilight years in retirement, I've decided I'm going to have to sell off some of my Mercedes. I just have too many. And I don't have the time anymore. And in some cases, I just don't have the energy. The first ones to go will be the ones that are in some phase of restoration and need work. Take a look at this baby here. This is my 1966 230. I purchased this a few years ago from the original owner, and it's in beautiful condition, but it does have one major problem, which I'll show you later in the video. This car was purchased in Europe and brought over to the Pacific Northwest in 1966. And that same owner owned it all through up to the early 2000s. And he spent, I think about 10 years ago he took it to a shop and he spent $10,000 on this car. He had the doors, the hood, the trunk removed. He had the car totally repainted. All new seals were installed. He had the bumpers re-chromed, new windshield installed. And the car is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's not a 100-point show car, granted, but it is extremely nice, rust-free. I'm going to repeat, rust-free finback. And these, you know, are very difficult to find. The problem was, after he brought it back from the restoration, he didn't drive it very much, and he let it sit. And it sat for 3 or 4 years before I got the car. And when I got the car, I had to go through the fuel system. I had to change, you know, all the rubber fuel hoses and clean out the carburetors, and I had to completely redo the brakes. He mentioned to me when he delivered the car that it did smoke, and I noticed that the engine was smoking, and I figured, well, you know, if I can just get out and drive this car, the smoking problem will probably go away. Take a look at how nice the body is. You can see the panels are super straight. There's only a couple very small flaws in the body. It has the original leather interior. Now granted, the leather's torn, so that's going to need some attention, but it does have that really unique leather smell. And take a look at this trunk. Now if you have a lot of luggage, you are going to love a 110 chassis sedan. Look at how much stuff you can get in here. I've detailed out the trunk, and the nicest part is the engine compartment. I spent quite a bit of time detailing out the engine compartment and painting the accessories in it, so you can see here, that's not going to need a lot of work. But once again, there's one major problem with this car, and let me show you that now. Let me start the engine up now and you can hear how it sounds. You know, it's a little cold-blooded when it's real cold, but it doesn't sound too bad, does it? But let's move around to the back and I'll show you the problem. Yes, that's right, the car smokes, and it smokes badly. You can see when I get on it. In fact, it smokes so badly that you can't even drive this down the road without being embarrassed. Yes, it runs and drives, but this smoking problem is going to have to be fixed. From my experience, I think the problem is related to piston rings, primarily because the engine sat a long time. It's possible maybe the cylinder walls even started to rust up a little bit, and actually as the more I drove the car, the worse the smoking problem became. It's got low compression. No, it's not just valve guide seals. You literally will either have to take the engine out and rebuild it or find a replacement 230 engine. I personally think this car, because of all the pluses, is ideally suited for someone who already has a 230, maybe a rusty car, maybe a ratty car, or something that's been damaged, but has a good engine. If you could find a good 230 engine, it's just a matter of 1 or 2 days work and transplant that good engine right into this car and fix a few other things and you'll be ready to go. You'll have a very nice rust-free 230. So if you have the ability to get another engine, or if you're inclined to pull this engine out and completely rebuild it, then this might be a car that you would be really interested in, particularly if you're an old finback lover. Now, as far as selling this car, I've decided to sell it on eBay. I just don't have time to field a lot of questions and have people come by and look at it. So on June 15th, I will be putting this car up for a 10-day auction, selling it to the highest bidder. And no, I'm not, to be fair to all my bidders, I'm not going to release my reserve. I will not have time to answer questions on YouTube, but I will respond to questions directed through the eBay auction. I'll be putting the same information on my website. So if you're interested in owning this old 230, be sure and check out my eBay auction starting on June 15th.